Hey, what's up, guys? Robert Benson. Today I'm going to be doing something I don't normally do, which is working in Photoshop Elements. And there's a reason for that. I have a young lady who would like some help in compositing her photos that she's taken of her face painting business. And she asked me for some help, so I wanted to do a tutorial for her. And I figured I'd share that with everybody. She was generous enough to allow me to share her photo here that she took of the young lady that she did the face painting for. And her Facebook is Cheeky Cheeks Face Painting. So if you're in Las Vegas, check it out. She's got some pretty nice work on her Facebook here. And if you need to hire her for a children's party or whatever, I'm sure she'd be a great person to hire to do that. Anyway, a couple of notes. I'm not an expert at Elements. I am an expert at Photoshop, and it's similar, although some of the more powerful tools that are available in Photoshop are not available in Elements, which you can tell by looking at the difference in price between the two packages. However, it is still possible to do compositing. It's not quite as easy to get it looking perfect, I've found. But it is possible to do something pretty good. One of the things I do in Photoshop is I use the channels palette. There's no channels palette in Elements. Another thing that I use is color range, which also is not available in Elements. Those two functions alone are probably worth the extra price, in my personal opinion, just based on being able to make selections of difficult to select things, some of which are in this photo. We have these extraneous hairs that are kind of sticking off, and the background is all different colors, and it's out of focus, and just kind of all over the place in the background. Generally, when I know I'm going to shoot something for compositing, I will shoot against a black background or a white background, so that it's easier for me to go in and make selections of all these little hairs and stuff that are sticking off. Now, obviously, if you've taken a picture and you want to composite it and you did not plan on compositing, like this in this particular photo here, you're going to end up with a situation like this where it's a little more difficult. So the best way that I found by playing with this program for a few days is to use the quick selection tool. Now, the way this works is, that's weird. Generally, the way this works is there's a plus in the middle of this brush, and then when you hold down Alt, there's a minus, and I'm not sure why that's not working right now. Okay, it's doing it with the Shift button here. So I'm holding down Shift and selecting an area, and if I let go, I have a minus, and you can actually just select Add and Subtract down here as well if you want. Oh, there we go. Now we're on Add. Oh, now the Alt button is working for minus. Okay, that's something I'm not used to, but that's how it works in Photoshop. It's Add and then Alt is minus. You can make the brush bigger or smaller by using the right and left square bracket or curly bracket keys. Here, this is the right one is bigger, left one is smaller, and this is a good size for now. So basically, I'm just going to hold the mouse down and kind of drag a selection around the main part. I'm not going to worry about these hairs that are a little sticking out right here, but I'm just going to get most of this main part of the picture painted in, and get a kind of decent selection around the girl's face and hair. Everything's more or less filled in. And I might try to get some of this here. And then we have, you can see this kind of went outside of the area I wanted, so I'm going to hit Alt, hold that down, and just kind of paint over that a little bit, and that will bring it back kind of towards the area where I wanted. Okay, now what's going to happen is, I'm actually going to do that a little bit over here too. Maybe add a little bit right there. Okay, so now what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and hit this refine edge. Now, if you don't see that window there, maybe you double click the tool. Okay, yeah, you double click the tool, and then you're going to click this here, this refine edge button. What's that's going to do is that is going to show you the mask that is on the picture at the moment. I like to start off with a black background, just a little easier to see, and that depends, of course, on the background that you're using. But if you click the Smart Radius button here and bring this, start to bring this out, you can see that it's kind of softening the edges a little bit. And what that does is if I hit Show Radius, and if I turn off Smart Radius, you see that it kind of changes the radius. The Smart Radius is kind of adjusting itself based on the picture, the area of the picture that it's in. So you want to kind of get a sort of good balance here between what's selected and what's not. And then you can use the smooth slider here to kind of smooth it out, and then also the feather. You're just kind of looking for a relatively smooth edge. I generally do not play with contrast or shift edge, but that depends also on the background. I will click Contaminate Colors, and the reason I do that, or Decontaminate Colors, the reason I do that is because then I get this option, a new layer with layer mask, which is the option that I'll have you select if it's not already. You can play with this a little bit. Sometimes this helps. So you can see right in this area here, if I turn that all the way up, it makes a little bit of a difference. Not too much. Now the tricky part is, now that you have this, you got this Refine Radius tool. And I'm going to make my brush bigger by pressing right bracket just a little bit. And the size of your brush does matter. I'm going to click right on this blue part right here. With the Refine Radius tool selected, right in this little blue part, the X in my tool is right on the blue. So if I click that and select and kind of paint over the hair right in this area, it's going to kind of get rid of that blue. Of course, it also gets rid of a little bit of the hair as well. So there's a balance. But again, this is the best way I know how to do it in Elements. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put my X kind of right on the edge, on the inside edge of where her hair is meeting the background, and just hold the mouse down and kind of paint right along this edge here. I'm kind of telling it what part I don't want in the picture, which is the background. Okay, and see how that's kind of painting that out. It doesn't do a great job, but it is okay, and I'm going to do that up here as well. And then I'm going to play again with these controls here. Now this is where contrast will help a little bit. But if you go too far, you can see that kind of hardens things out again. So you might want to feather it and maybe smooth it again. I think I'm going to erase some of this stuff back out here too. And shift edge, it's kind of something I generally don't use just because it either just kind of shrinks or grows the selection, which doesn't necessarily help all the time. But if it's a matter between making it look good and using this, use this if you need to. Now it's really at this point just a matter of kind of playing with these and trying to get something that looks decent. I think I see like a little bit of the background right in this area of her hair. That might be her shirt. Maybe right here. I'm just going to use paint again on that area. Okay, now this is looking fairly decent given what I had to work with at the beginning with the background. Obviously the little extraneous hairs and all that stuff, that's all gone. But if you look at this on a white background, it doesn't look too bad. And because of the settings that I have, new layer with layer mask, if I turn this down, I might be able to get some of that hair back. It just kind of looks like her hair is blurred around the edges a little bit, which is fine because of the depth of field that kind of goes along. Actually, it looks like I might have deleted part of her ear. If you delete something you don't want, you use the erase refinements, and you can just paint. Yeah, I'll bring some of that back. And hopefully I didn't cut off my ear. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay, it looks pretty good. And then at this point, if you need to do a bunch of pictures, go ahead and click Remember Settings, and it'll open the next time you open this dialog box. And we'll open it with the current settings, so you don't have to kind of go through that all again. But this looks pretty good, I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and then what will happen is it will make a new layer with a mask. So if I just take the background, turn that off. Oh, it was turned off. So this background is off. Now if I can put in a new layer. So if I can figure out how to do that, new layer, drop that to the bottom or below that one. No matter what I put in here, it will show up in the back. So let's just try to fill it with a gray color, just to see how that looks. About a middle gray. Hit OK. Yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad around the edges, considering again what I had to work with this messy background back here. Did lose some of the hairs, but I'd say that's a pretty decent job. And then you can go ahead, of course, save this out and export a JPEG, whatever you need to do. Well, hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, don't understand something, let me know. I will. Again, this video is brought to you by Cheeky Cheeks Face Painting here in Las Vegas. And again, I go through here and look at some of her photos. So if you need any face painting or of any kind in Las Vegas, go ahead and check her out. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions.